Hi everyone, welcome to the Crossover Celebrity channel. My name is Tina Dushar, and today we'll be bringing through another celebrity. And on this channel, we bring through a celebrity and talk about an issue that the collective may be going through and get their words of wisdom and advice. And I walk you through their soul contract, and we go through a number of oracle cards and get right from the celebrity and from spirit what we can do to heal and to grow from our experiences. So if you're interested in learning more about the soul contract and how I put the charts together, I always put a short introductory video in the description box below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It's free. And I'm looking to grow the channel and get the messages up to more people as I expand and pull together more information. So as you know, the great Tom Petty is coming through today. The original Heartbreaker, he is coming to talk about healing the heart. We're gonna go through his soul chart and a little bit about some of the experiences that he was going through, how he felt about all of that, and where he ended up landing, because as we all know, we all go through heartbreaks at different times of our lives. You know, the loss of loved ones, even the loss of a job, of, family members, pets, significant others, husbands, wives, breaking up, divorce, all of those things are created in our experience to bring us to a deeper sense of compassion and understanding. And also, it's again to break us apart a little bit, to open that heart. As painful as it is for all of us here, we try to avoid that at all costs. It seems, as Tom did in his life. He had some coping mechanisms, and of course, he overdosed, and that was why he transitioned over. So we do want to mention that. I do want to bring up his chart for you here, as we start to get into a little bit more about this heartbreak and healing that heartbreak. And so the reason there's no surprise here as to why, his original identity, was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. He has a dominant 7 in his chart, and the 7s are all about healing the heart. So again, not surprised by the name, because that would be, because it's in his soul destiny, that would be one of his biggest lessons that he came here to learn, was really about opening the heart, living from the heart, healing the heart, and unifying people in that process, bringing them together. And I believe we can take our hats off to him in that respect, because of the beautiful legacy of music that does exactly that thing, right? I'm going to pull up, I got some notes here. Tom is quite kind of a reserved personality when he comes through. I did a little bit of creative writing with him. I've been visiting, kind of getting some messages and tuning into him over the last several days. So again, for him, healing the heart, started off as we work through our charts. I always talk about this physical side and our spiritual side, and usually the physical starts to play out because that's what is grounded us here on earth. And then at some point in our life, as we start to work through the chart, our spiritual side starts to also interplay and work through us, if we've gained enough knowledge through the physical side. A lot of these celebrities I talk about they've been here many times. He's going to be coming back. Sometimes I can tell you, if they're close to the end of their incarnation cycle. Robin Williams had the chart where it actually dictated that this was his last incarnation here. And so I do have a video if you want to check that out and show you how that looks. So that it was a very unusual chart. But again, we're talking about Tom today. And he was this very quiet, kind of this very mysterious, secretive type of a personality. And that again actually comes from the spiritual side of the 14, which is the Scorpio energy. Even though he was born a Libra, that was all about, again, here we are, balance, right? All about the balance. It's funny, he would have been 70 if he would have still been living now, but he died at the age of 66. And we want to talk about the 6-6 and his karmas, because everything to me kind of has a language that it's trying to tell us. And 6-6 is all in the karmic aspect, is tied to the addictions and the things that he was struggling with in his life. And that was coming from the spiritual side. And when you have karmic 6s, you basically are going to get the negative aspects of this, because it's in the karmic side. It's all about overcoming it, and our opportunity, and is our greatest opportunity for growth here in this life. And that was his biggest challenge, is he was using that trauma that he had from his childhood, and we'll talk about that, coming from his 5s here. And he was using that to self-medicate. And obviously we can only do that for so long. And that doesn't work anymore, because he was having, again, more pain and more issues where the body is trying to get his attention to go within and start to reconcile, start to reach out to heal that a very severe trauma that he had. Again, yep, he died in October 2nd. We wanted to bring up this 2 over here, which was all about the, again, tying back to numbers to his chart, was all about kind of, I would say, a little bit of a blind spot here. It was meant to be, it's a little bit of foolishness to wisdom, making some bad decisions, clouding your judgment. And again, that's when you have this karmic 6, which is all about, for him, it was addictions and learning to focus, learning to be able to focus, because the 6s would also give him this inability to focus and give him some scattering and ungrounded energy to deal with. So, but we're going to start, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the 5s, because even though he was this dominant 7, the 5s played out quite large for him, because again, when we have this karmic side, it's meant for us to overcome. And this is all about pioneer energy. As this told me, he was an extremely sensitive soul, and that he would struggle fitting into society. And he talked about that because he didn't feel like he fit in. His dad wanted him to hunt. His dad, wanted him to play sports and be this very macho guy. And here he was, this very sensitive soul. And he resonated very greatly with animals. He didn't want to go out and kill them. And so he would go and try to do those things, because 5s are all about, a little bit of this people pleasing comes through, because we get persecuted at a very young age for speaking our truth. And he was beaten very severely on many occasions by his father. They don't want to hear the truth. And he was an outlet for his father's anger. And so 5s can also manifest this type of abuse to overcome it. So it is written in the chart that you can manifest abuse in your life. This was a soul agreement with his father. And he's saying, which he has reconciled that on the other side. And he was telling me how his dad played that part really well, because we play roles in all our different incarnations. Because he might have played that part a little too well, the abusive alcoholic father. And again, it is not for us to have continual abuse in our lives. It's just something that we do choose to manifest to give us a little deeper knowledge. And he did eventually run away from that, to get away from it. And that is a very good thing for him, to have that strength to get away from that. Although then you tend to start playing this out in your life. And he wants to apologize for others that he abused as he was projecting. Because again, it's this projection. It was a very DNA inheritance pattern, this very abusive 6s, a lot of anger and frustration because of the blocked creativity. And then the outlet is can be very damaging to others. And when you have a 9 in your chart, it can be very self-destructive and destruction of others. And I would believe his dad had that, if probably in his karma, very, very destructive behavior. And so he would be very, very, because these 5s are in karma, would lead him to a lot of depression. He also, being that he had these 5s and 6s in this karmic aspects, he would be subject to a lot of negativity. And I noticed his handwriting very, very, how it kind of always wants to trail down, which means very, not very optimistic. He's very more on the pessimistic side, very, could be, get very much into a depression. So he really needed to understand that he needed to live in a very harmonious environment, which he wasn't raised in. But as he got to be an adult, that this would be very important to space clear, so he's not picking up on others' energies, because the 5s are very psychic and they pick up on that and it can be very damaging. So again, he was starting to get into transcendental meditation, but he wasn't doing it on a regular basis. So that he was starting to gravitate, because these 14 5s and his spiritual goals are up, really can quickly get you up that consciousness scale. It can help people go through therapy very quickly. If he would have reached out more, he could have worked through some of this trauma. He said he wasn't, again, as open. Again, the cultures were just really starting to open up with these new frequencies, and really it's starting, he was toying with transcendental meditation and things like that, which a rock star would not be known for, right? So again, he kind of was getting these intuitive, it makes him very psychic. So the 14 5s also, it's about having very intense relationships with others, which was, again, part with his father, part with his significant others, and some of his relationships with band members and record labels, very intense. The 22s is all about conflict. So again, this would in his goals, because this was all about him being really good in business, wanting to do a business, expand, always never wanting to retire, always wanting to expand and grow. And it gives it this really great fluidity movement, but it also, the physical gives you some of the positive and negative. It can give him a little bit of inflexibility and a little bit of stubbornness, which was why he wasn't, again, seeking out these, being able to heal, which he has these wonderful 7s in his talent, which is all about healing the heart, opening up the channels, right? Bringing people together through his music, and it's really about him coming out of hiding and being this wonderful positive action person. And he was doing that through his music. And especially I wanted to mention with the 5s of it being in a karmic side, it's really about coming into this, again, Aries trait, being a pioneer in your musical, the area that he chose, which was music. And it also is about freedom. And again, he wrote songs about that. I think of Free Falling, that really talks about free, he's talking about free falling. And he's, really emphasizing this freedom, and how to go, you didn't really know what he was talking about. But when I hear this song, and he was talking about how he felt he was being this bad person. 7s have a tendency to think there's something bad about themselves. And then all this blocked anger and frustration. And so he talks about being this bad boy, and then, he's going to free fall, and he's going to, take a step back and get away from that. So that was kind of what I was getting out of the lyrics. You may get a different connotation, whatever resonates with you. When you hear songs, the messages, they try to send you a message. And so it may change depending on the person, because there are different things that we are needing to hear. But that was what I was hearing in that song. And so I wasn't surprised that was the first album he put out as an individual, because the 7s tend to want to stay hidden. They can go up in the mountains and meditate with no one around. See, this is giving him that sense of great decisiveness as well. But it's also about unifying others and making him this very gregarious party animal, very magnetic. The more he opened his heart to others through his music, the more people were attracted to him. And so again, that was part of his healing journey, was opening the heart to bring others in, to connect with them, to heal them through his music. So he was, sevens can be very objective in their expression. They make good actors. He was tinkering with this. But again, as I was saying, when Free Falling came out, that was his first album as a solo artist, him coming out as himself, not, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. It was him, solely him. And Free Falling made it, I think, to number 7 on the chart. So again, that correlates with his numbers. It makes a lot of sense. So as this is his physical side, 7s are a much stronger talent than the 5s, so that he was able to work into more of the positive side of his 5s and pull in a lot of the intuitiveness that he needed to be able to know where he should go with his music. And 5s are all about speech. And we recommend people with karmic 5s to sing, write, any type of speech in public where they are opening their vocal channels. So obviously these 7s were a great match for his 5s, and it opened him up to those positive aspects. The 22, again, as I said, in his physical goals, which means not necessarily your spiritual goals, your physical here, how you make your money and what you do in the physical realm. Not that you can't make money on the spiritual side, but we'll get into that in a moment. So this was all about him building that business, being that endless expander, and growing and changing and being extremely creative in the process, and having great movement. So he was losing that a little bit because, again, he had started to work through his spiritual chart, and he was, again, not staying grounded in his body to really feel through what was going on. Our bodies, when we're having issues, is always, not always, but most of the time, 99.9% of the time, it's tied to an emotional trauma that we haven't identified or haven't released yet. We're still processing it. So please be aware. He wants people to be aware of that. If you're just taking medication to get rid of the pain, or doing drugs to get rid of any type of drugs to get rid of the pain, you may be, again, prolonging a process that if you would work through it, work through the pain, work through a qualified therapist, and do some of these other things. He gave me a list that I will talk about shortly. There are a lot of different modalities that you can seek out, because you can heal that pain. You don't have to live with it. And by just covering it up, it doesn't make it go away. It actually usually makes it get worse, because we're not dealing with it. We came here to work through these. We didn't come here to hide from them. So your body will continually try to get your attention. And he said he was not. 5s are very sensitive and they need to eat properly. He was putting all kinds of toxins in. Of course, he was addicted to cigarettes and drinking and all of those things, which is very toxic to the body and brings you to a lower vibration, which, again, with 5s, then you can get very negative psychic attacks from others. And then again, you're going to get all of these negative things happen. I think he had a fire too that was an issue that burned somebody. Again, 9s can draw in if you're in a very negative place with the 9s, even though this is in talents and you haven't worked through it. It's all about this great power, but it also, again, can be very self-destructive or having people want to destroy you. So again, you can kind of pull this in if you're in a very negative place. I'm guessing at that time he was in a very negative place. So again, these are the kind of experiences you can draw to yourself. And it's meant to shock you out of it, to go deeper. Why is this happening? Start to look at your life, at what's really important and what it means to you. So again, we're talking about the 20-2, that fluidity, this great movement energy. You can see here, it keeps expanding and growing. However, it also, the 20 is a war to peace number, and this is all about finding inner peace. And if you are struggling with that inner peace because you're conflicted by all of these patterns of abuse that you have, you will manifest conflict in your life. And we call it the warring number. So again, he had this warring conflict always going on with his father. It usually runs with family members because it's meant for you to learn about inner peace and that you don't have to participate in any kind of conflict with anybody. There are alternatives to that. And so once you start to realize you have a choice, you decide whether you want to choose to engage in the conflict or not. You do it from a much more inner peace, place, because that's what he was trying to get to is this much living through the heart, not through the head. There's this competing. The ego wants to think through everything and to keep you safe, but you have to open the heart and think through the heart. So he did have these wonderful 18-9 energy here, which is another excellent talent for him to overcome this blockage of creativity, because it really gives him this inventive, independent energy. And he can see things from a project manager side. So he can see things from start to finish and have a real clear vision of that. So, and it also opens up more of that intuitive that we were talking about that can be blocked from these numbers. And they're very intuitive. They can also be very eccentric because they really can get into the truth of who they are, and they're not afraid to be who they are. They're not so about conformity. And you can see that a little bit about him and who he was, about not being that conformity type of a person. And so they are very intuitive. They know their truth when they hear it. I watched a video with him and another famous celebrity, and he talked about how intuitive Tom was. I'm not surprised with all these wonderful intuitive numbers that he had. So he really knew what his truth was. And of course, this also makes him very good in business. So again, this would help him on the business side of things as well. So again, we're talking about healing the heart because he was a dominant 7, and 7s are all about that heart opening, making your decisions from the heart, being objective towards others. And so these are some things that he had talked to me about. Practicing positive thinking, a lot of meditations you can get online to help you with that, your thinking process, to get you pulled out of that negative, because we're not meant to stay in the negative side of these numbers. We're meant to ascend and to get into the positive. The negative is just the karmic aspects. We're just meant to experience those emotions and those lower things to overcome them. So we have a greater understanding in our incarnations, and we can keep gaining on that knowledge and bringing forth more of our soul truth with each incarnation. He talks greatly about the transcendental meditation. He highly recommends that if you're struggling, and keeping a set routine, a structured routine, because karmic 5s need structure in their life. Eating healthy and watching how your body is affected by what you eat, because some people maybe can do dairy, maybe not. He said he really needed to clean up his diet, and that would have helped him feel better physically, which would help out his mental capacity as well, because it all is the emotional body, the mental body, and the physical body are all linked. And we are starting to learn more and more about that. And so he also wants to talk about learning how to drop down into your heart. And there's other guided meditations on YouTube for that as well. Opening the heart, Braden, you could look him up on YouTube. He talks about that heart connection, the second brain, and the importance of connecting with the heart. There's a lot of teachers out there. I do the soul contract readings and can give you some guidance there as well. If you're interested in having a reading, I put my email down there as well. I'm working on my website right now, doing some restructuring of that as well. But there's a lot of different ways, he says, so to look for the way that most resonates with you, because that's what you really need. So I'm going to stop sharing, and we're going to pull some cards. He says it's time to start pulling some cards. Enough about me. He's never one to want to talk much about himself. But again, he knows this is really about helping. He's so grateful to all his fans. He wants me to say that right now, and to his family. And he knows there's some issues going on with his family, and that's all part of their soul contracts to work through that inner peace and going through, because that was also one of his ancestral patterning. And so he's hoping his daughters will work through a lot of the inner conflict, and will grow and understand that it's a choice and that it doesn't have to be so hard. And so he's saying, such a pain. I can't pain in the, you know what. So he said it, but I didn't say it. So okay, so I keep saying, pull the wisdom to oracle cards here. So and right away I get number 23, which adds up to 5. You can't make this stuff up. These guys know what they want to say, and they know what they want to bring through. And believe it or not, this is about peace. We just talked about this. This did come out in the reverse, because as Tom struggled with peace, there's a lot of you out there who are going to get this message and are struggling with that as well. So we're going to read the protection message out of the book for you guys. He wants me to read because that's what's going on here with you. So there's a message here for the viewers. Okay, so this peace card is all about freedom from attachment and radical acceptance. Very interesting. Now is a time for calmness and well-being in spite of temporary conditions. Even if there are dissonant notes in the music of your life, all that means is that you must go within and fine-tune the extraordinary instrument that you are. Find harmony within yourself, and don't look to the outer world to provide certainty. This too shall pass, and once again your life will be filled with beautiful music. Thank you for that message. I think from what we've talked about with your past, those were definitely the things that you were struggling with. Thanks for sharing that for the viewers who needed to hear that. So now we're going with work your light. Like I said, you can't make this up. So we have the inner temple, devotion, tune into the portal of your heart. He really wants you to understand this heart connection. This was healing the heart, something that he really wants to send that message out to everyone. And his one regret is that he didn't get more into the spiritual side where he was actually communicating more of this, because he realizes now the platform that he had and how much more we're not taking away from the things that he does help people through his music that will last for eons. But again, him taking the personal responsibility for his ownership of his self and the heart. Hang on. I'm being drawn here. I'm trying to listen to and follow his guidance. So the inner temple, which, believe it or not, is on page 70, number 7. So you are being called to be a devoted student and tune into your heart, to incorporate true devotion into your life. You could be being called to develop a regular meditation practice, to journal, maybe chanting. I do chanting because I really need to vibrate it into my being. So Wayne Dyer has some Om and Ah meditations or any type of chanting practice. Okay, so to show up to your soul with rhythm, to develop a daily practice where you fill up your well and spend time with your soul and what your soul wants. All of the answers to all of the questions that you are seeking are waiting for you in the portal of your heart, but you cannot hear them unless you carve out time each day to listen. Your soul is yearning for a deeper relationship with you. And so the more you spend with it and show up to it, the more clearly it will guide you. We are here to grow as souls. Earth is one big playground for the soul to learn, and you are being called to go deeper into your soul growth or to increase your devotion by being a student of a lineage or a spiritual teacher. So reach out to whoever resonates with you so that you can go a little deeper. If you have already been a committed student, then you are being commended for your devotion. Your guides want you to know how proud they are of you and that the time you spend in devotion is priceless. If you are questioning your career or life path at this time, your guides want you to turn your focus towards devotion and this prayer. Please use me in a way that delights my mind, body, and soul. May my life be one big moving prayer. I'm going to say that 2 more times. Please use me in a way that delights my mind, body, and soul. May my life be one big moving prayer. Please use me in a way that delights my mind, body, and soul. May my life be one big moving prayer. So it's about committing to a daily spiritual practice. Thank you for that. I'm going right to the Sacred Destiny deck. I always put all the cards we pull in the description box and give credit to the authors and whoever wrote the lighten up. We got the feather. Simplicity. Getting back to the simple things, letting go of all of those attachments, all of the things that we attach ourselves to that are no longer serving us. They weigh us down. Those emotional involvements with others, the warring with others. If you wake up in the morning and you start that cycle in your head of the patterns of what happened yesterday that were negative, that will keep you weighed down. He wants you to unstick the anchor, he's saying, that you have on your foot that is keeping you in the past. Start. And he's saying you can start viewing others that you have conflicts with in a positive way. Start looking for the good in everyone so that they will show you in return, because what you are seeking out is what is reflecting back to you. So if you are in a negative place, people are going to show you negativity. Now, that is not 100%. Again, people will project their pain onto you. Sometimes you are not having that reflected back to you because you were in a negative place. So it's use your discernment. But he wants you to really understand, if you start to see people, I've used this in my life and I have better relationships with people in my life because I do not focus anymore on what I think, my judgment, because your ego will create all these judgments about people, negative judgments. I'm starting to only focus on the good things that people show me. And then all of a sudden I start seeing more and more of that in the day-to-day life. So again, he's asking you to please do that as well. And I did want to mention, we talked about his running down a dream song and looking for a mystery, and that was really tied to his 14-5, which is that Scorpio energy, all about mystery. And he wants you guys to play that song and really listen to the lyrics of that. It's really about connecting at a mystical mystery level and about reaching for more and reaching for that dream and reaching for more. And so you can even use that song as part of your meditation. You know, music can really help us get us to a higher vibration. And then he says, sit in silence and then hear the answers that come to you. He's telling me right now, it isn't as hard as a lot of people make it out to be. Meditation isn't just about stopping the mind, he's saying, because most of us, that's almost an impossibility. But letting those thoughts go through, and then you'll know your soul will grab the ones that are important. Don't grab every one. Just let them flow through, and then eventually it will get stronger, the ones that you're supposed to resonate with. So he wanted to point that out as well. So we're getting I don't know how, he says he did believe in angels. Okay. So because he's drawing me to the Keepers of the Light deck. So we are going to pull an angel. Oh, Mother Mary, one of my favorites. I resonate greatly. And of course, Mother Mary is about love and peace. Let go of the need to be right. This is also a trip up of the ego. Matt Kahn talks about hitting a nerve, fear being triggered. The nerve, NERV, RV, neediness, entitlement, righteousness, and victimhood. Those are things that you are needing to heal or look at in your life. So let go of the need to be right. That's that ego. Choose peace. And then mother healing is possible at this time. And so that's about mothering yourself and allowing this Mother Mary energy to fall into your life so that you know the right healing avenues to take. So now is the right time. You're being guided to start that spiritual practice and start to work into that spiritual side of your chart. It's really, I feel it's very important. I want everyone to know their charts, because you can really, once you know what your talents are, once you know what the positive manifestations of the numbers in the chart, you can start focusing on that positive numbers and start bringing those positive experiences to you. And so I always work with the Archangel Metatron deck, and I got cards flying out all over. So here's a couple of cards he wants to share with you here. And so go as above, so below, 41, which adds up to 5 again. And so this is about making your own heaven on earth. This is very possible. So I just talked about learning how to motivate your energy. It's what I do, help people to see that positive side so that they can tap into the positive motivation that's right for them, so that they can make that heaven on earth. And then another card that dropped off was this 44. 4-4, balance, right? Stability. Beacon, shine on, shine the light. Focus on the light. And we all have at times these waves crashing around us. Nobody's free from hurt, pain, people trying to inflict conformity and other things onto us. So he says, climb up the mountain, be the light on the mountain around all of the turmoil that's going on in your life. He says you can do it. He's giving you great encouragement. Thanks, Tom. That's wonderful. And so our last bit that we are going to do is we're going to have a healing mantra from the Matt Kahn healing deck. And we'll ask for any more last moment advice from Mr. Petty, the original Heartbreaker, broke a lot of girls' hearts. He never wanted to break anyone's heart. He just wanted to be loved and free from the pain of feeling he needed his father's love, which he's saying, you can be your own mother and father. That's what that mother healing card, you know, his mother was a victim, didn't make his home safe either. So he's saying that to we all have that capacity. And so it's all about balancing the brain. Again, because he had so much going on. Again, we saw this beacon card, right? So let's talk about this. Look at the waves here. Look at the waves and how they're crashing around. And look at all this beautiful purple, the light, you know, that's Archangel Metatron. Purple is this higher vibrational to rise up. So, okay, so how do we do that? So we balance the brain. We do healing mantras. Mantras are good. Affirmations are good. So we're going to say this 3 times. Please repeat after me. I can be and do all at once. I can be and do all at once. I can be and do all at once. And I will put that. So we like to say this, to use this mantra over the next few days. Say it when you think of it 3 times. Carry, you know, write it on a piece of paper and carry it with you. Tape it to the mirror. And he wants you to know that you are never alone. You may feel alone. You're never alone. Your guides are there. Ask the universe to show you signs and watch for them. You will get signs. I do that on a regular basis, and I am amazed sometimes at the signs that spirit will send to me. I mean, it's miraculous. And he's saying he's looking forward to his next incarnation. He's still on the other side, working to right now, his love is to help other musicians who are in a bad place in the addiction area. And he's trying to work from the other side and helping them seek out the therapy, the help, clean up, and get the help that they, because it's not so much that, we're disempowered and we can't help ourselves. There's so much we can do for ourselves, but sometimes reaching out to another can help us accelerate the process. So he wants to, again, thank everybody for being here, for listening to his music. He just can't tell you how much love, and I'm feeling it. I want to cry, the love that he has. He says, drop into the heart space, guys. You can do it. You can do this. We can all create a better place, he says, on this earth, so no one has to suffer the severe abuse that he did. Not that people won't still manifest some negativity, he goes, but we can lighten this up. That's the simplicity part. We don't have to go through so much trauma. And with that, I think we'll call this good. I feel this is complete. And again, Tom sends his love. And I thank him for coming to me and sharing the information and the downloads and working with his energy. Please, again, like, share, and subscribe to get the word out to other people who would be interested in hearing what he has to say. So thank you. Take care and much love.